Namaskar and thanks for joining us on the Economic Brief, a weekly window to some key stories that point to the state of economic affairs in India and the world. My name is Mark Lin, and on the program, India's EFTA TEPA, it comes into effect. Minister Goyal urges industry on both sides to take advantage of opportunities. Dubai, the bustling high-tech emirate, is showcasing a digital 2.0 agenda for 2030, a city preparing to lead a digital future. Trump's threat of a 100% tariff on foreign films casts a shadow over Hollywood's global dominance. It may take a few hits and not make a few hits. Well, Tajikistan sees power below its peaks as it enters the race for critical minerals. Well, before we move on to our main story, let's listen to India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. He's speaking to representatives and captains of industry from India and the European Free Trade Area. Now, Goyal hosted a high-level event in New Delhi to mark the enforcement of the India-EFTA agreement, calling it, in fact, India's first Europe-facing trade pact.
I'd like to invite Swiss businesses and Indian businesses to build partnerships, to work together on the growth story. You don't necessarily have to have equity partnerships of different nature. You could have equity partnerships, you could have technical collaborations, you could just work together on cooperative frameworks. We allow 100% FDI in almost all sectors of interest to the four nations. And we invite businesses to come and leverage the India opportunity and assure you a complete open door, willingness to learn and listen to you, willingness to make the pathway smoother, faster, more efficient.
So, what is India-EFTA TEPA? Let's expand on the nomenclature a little bit. We can see India-European Free Trade Association, that's what EFTA stands for. And this is the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, TEPA, and it came into effect on the 1st of October 2025. What are the key highlights of the TEPA? The first thing is $100 billion of FDI commitment from the EFTA countries to India. Now, this is no reciprocal target in sight, so it's a one-way in a sense. And India's investments into the EFTA countries are also welcome, of course. But, these investments are FDI, foreign direct investment, coming over 15 years, likely to create about 1 million direct jobs over these 15 years, improving goods, services, investment, IPR, and more in clean energy, life sciences, electronics, semiconductors, industrial automation, and the like. So we'll move on to our next slide now. Let's look at trade and market access, because this is one of the things we need to understand. What exactly is the TEPA talking about? Zero or reduced tariffs on 95% of India's exports to EFTA. Now, India doesn't export very much in terms of volume. It exports about $1.97 billion worth. And these are largely textiles, gems and jewelry, processed foods, rice, tea, coffee, leather goods, and some industrial products. And so 95% of these goods are going to be with zero or reduced tariffs. So hence, there's going to be more market access. But 80% of India's tariff lines are also opened to EFTA, which would imply that there's going to be a lot more coming in. But there's already about $22.4 billion of imports from the EFTA countries. But that's largely because we take a lot of gold from Switzerland. And of course, apart from that, we have watches and chocolates and medical devices, pharmaceuticals, fish oils, etc., and coming in. So there is a large trade deficit, which is for India, a trade deficit of about $20 billion. We'll move on to our next slide. So what's going to gain? We can see that processed foods, rice, gourd, gum, pulses, these are things that India exports are likely to gain. marine products to textiles, chemicals, plastics, electronics. Then there are sensitive sectors like dairy and coal and soya have been protected by India. That's an important aspect. We'll move on to, we can also see that India's strength lies in professional mobility and services, and this is also going to get a boost. IT, education, audiovisual, business services, nursing, architecture, accountancy, and also people can stay there, temporary stay for professionals, which is encouraging for Indian professionals who want to move to these EFTA countries. Let's look at the specific strength of each country in EFTA. EFTA consists of 4 countries. We'll start with Switzerland. Switzerland, of course, apart from gold and watches and stuff like that, we talk about food, nuts, electronics, gems. These are things that they are strong in. Norway, we have EV components, marine electronics, marine products. Electronics is separate. And then also rice. Let's move on to our next slide. Iceland, processed foods, medical devices, smart home tech. And then Liechtenstein is also with industrial electronics, OEM components. Now, there are strong banking sector as well in these countries. So we can look at investment now, investment facilitation. So we're likely to see the investments coming in terms of renewables, life sciences, engineering, digital transformation, joint ventures and tech partnerships. We've heard the minister asking for different kinds of partnerships to take place. And then there is also gradual tariff reductions that we talked about, which are focusing on Make in India, and then PLI products also will get a significant boost. So clearly we can see that, this is the first FTA with the 4 developed European nations. This gives us a boost to exports, investments, industrial growth, and it supports things like Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Let's now understand again. Let's go back and listen to the Commerce and Industry Minister, Piyush Goyal. He's speaking about the overall potential of the TEPA as far as commitments go. Now, the EFTA bloc has pledged, as I said, $100 billion in investments over 15 years, and that's expected to generate about 1 million direct jobs in India. Let's listen to Piyush Goyal once again.
Our doors are always open. And what the TEPA does is bring us closer together. It's not just a trade agreement. It's not just about duty reduction. It's also not only about the investment commitment. It's about providing a message to the world that these are 2 trusted geographies who are going to provide a stable and predictable environment which will help business plan their future more efficiently, which will mitigate costs that uncertainty often brings in, which will boost confidence of investors. And I hope this opportunity will be leveraged to the maximum, and this trade agreement will unleash new opportunities, greater investments, improved quality of goods and services.
Indeed, let's bring in Dr. Amit Kapoor, Honorary Chairman at the Institute of Competitiveness, India, Institute for Competitiveness. He's joining us from Gurugram, well-known economist. Thank you for being with us. Dr. Kapoor, Minister Goyal there highlighting how, in fact, in that speech, he also highlighted how Nestle's PE ratio in India is much higher than its parent company in Switzerland. So about 75x is what he said, compared to about 25x over there, 75x here. What does this indicate about EFTA companies, the potential that they can get for return on investment?
This is a very interesting statement. And if you talk about the EFTA companies, companies emerging from those set of nations or 4 countries, they will actually see a huge potential here. If you talk about the Nestle story is about understanding Indian market and really penetrating with goods that India requires. That's exactly what is going to happen here. You cannot ignore the Indian market. Today, we are 1.4 billion people. A large section of society is looking at some sophisticated products and goods, and that is what is really going to get coming into the country. And that would mean that they are able to invest and they're able to really get a lot of returns from those set of investments. The larger story here is that we are already seeing commitments that are coming through after this agreement. In fact, Roche has already said that they will invest close to about 1.8 billion dollars over the next 5 years. There is another thing. In fact, when you talk about these investments, they are going to have huge multipliers on the ground as well. Because this is not only about FD, what do you call investment in the stock market. It is about real investments, which is going to have some multipliers, and the investments are going to be far beyond what it is. But having said that, it is all about being part of the India story, the growth story that we are looking at. We are seeing rising incomes over a period of time. If you really look at the Karun list or whatever list, there is this rise in number of billionaires, a rise in number of millionaires that we are actually seeing. So there is a huge market that is developing over a period of time. And that sophistication of demand is also rising. And then, of course, there is the other section, what you would call as the India, which would require some interesting product at the right price. That will also open an opportunity for Indians.
Indeed. And how does the TEPA, indicate India is negotiating from a place of strength in the ongoing talks that India has with other countries for FTAs?
Oh, I think India is certainly negotiating from a point of strength, because if you really look at it, the question here is going to be that India is standing on very strong feet. What we are seeing is that Indian economy is robust. Yes, we have a few set of challenges because of the global headwinds, what US is doing right now. But at the end of the day, we have some robust economic indicators. The investments in infrastructure is happening. That is creating jobs, that is going to create multipliers. And then what we are saying here is that India is ready for investments. India is looking at stable partners. And this is where you would see that a large set of industrial products would actually come in, and India is ready for adopting those, and India is also ready. And as you said in your opening remarks as well, about Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yeah.
This is also a story wherein you're saying that we are going to create manufacturing capacities within the country itself. Incidentally, when I said $100 billion is something that they are saying or expecting, but it is going to be far bigger than that. They're already expecting $250 billion. And if I just look at a very simple multiplier, it can create about 2.5 million jobs then. With just a simple multiplier here. So what we are seeing here is a very amazing story of strength in terms of like what India is offering, its market, its capability. The only thing is going to be that how do we execute it right? There are going to be some challenges in terms of like saying as to how those investment commitments really come on the ground. How do we really work it out? We will have to make some changes in terms of say ease of doing business, because India has got the best possible deal that we could have actually thought of.
Indeed. Stay with us, Dr. Kapoor, for our next story as well. We're going to look at Dubai. Dubai is positioning itself as the epicenter of a global digital revolution, from AI-driven economic ambitions to passport-free airport travel and atmospheric water technology. The Emirate is, in fact, blending innovation with infrastructure to redefine what a smart city can be. And as India deepens its economic and strategic ties through trade hubs like Bharat Mart and seamless air connectivity, Dubai's transformation is not just local, it's reshaping global commerce, technology, and sustainability. Here's the report.
Dubai is racing to lead global digital transformation. The UAE aims to boost its digital economy from 12% to 20% of non-oil GDP by 2030, with AI alone projected to add $96 billion. Dubai is fueling Web3, fintech, and blockchain growth, backed by heavy investment in 5G, IoT, and smart city tech. Now a rising tech policy hub, Dubai rivals Singapore and Silicon Valley, drawing entrepreneurs with friendly regulations, lifestyle perks, and global startup access. Its ambition shines through innovations like passport-free travel via biometrics at Dubai International Airport and cutting-edge water tech redefining digital economy 2.0.
Currently, it's only available at Terminal 3, Business Departure Hall, but we are planning to expand the service to other terminals and Al Maktoum International Airports in the coming duration.
Dubai Airport collaborates globally to redefine travel with sustainability and cutting-edge tech. The connectivity helps India as well with its external trade diversification aims.
all of the Gulf sources very heavily from UAE. A lot of African countries find it easy to source from Dubai because of air connectivity and easier logistics from Dubai to different parts of Africa. There are many Central Asian nations which have good connectivity from Dubai.
India is deeply invested in Dubai's digital transformation economically, strategically, and technologically. Non-oil trade between India and the UAE hit $38 billion in the first half of 2025, up 34% from 2024. A massive 2.7 million square feet trade hub in Dubai's Jebel Ali Free Zone, Bharat Mart, is giving Indian exporters a permanent showcase.
During Dubai Expo, we had set up a whole big pavilion, and the UAE government had given us rights to hold the pavilion since we had invested money in creating a permanent structure. That place is available with the Commerce Ministry.
Dubai is tackling water scarcity with high-tech solutions, investing in atmospheric water generators that pull moisture from air and turn it into premium still and sparkling water. Robotics handle bottling, inspection and packaging to maintain top quality.
So our production capabilities is literally unlimited. Today we are producing around 40,000 liters only in this location, but we have thousands of machines all around the country which produces tens of thousands of liters every single day.
This is more than just innovation, it's resilience redefined. Dubai is transforming extreme conditions into a launchpad for sustainable water tech and a thriving digital oasis. The Economic Brief, DD India.
So let's turn to Dr. Kapoor for comments once again. Dr. Kapoor, what are the limitations, if any, for these kind of smart cities? And can Dubai or Singapore survive without intraport trade?
Oh, so I think these are some amazing examples. I don't think you would require, you are seeing a fundamental shift in terms of like how economies will work. And what we are seeing is the emergence of these set of cities, and they will sustain themselves over a period of time. What Dubai is doing is absolutely startling in terms of like how they've been able to build a city out of scratch in the last 45 years. Dubai was just a fishing village in 1980s to what it has actually come to be. But this was all about long-term vision in terms of understanding how cities need to be really built. What I fundamentally see is that they followed this 3D principle of creation of a city. And that makes it very resilient. That makes it resilient in terms of saying, okay, now how the city will sustain over a period of time. And those 3Ts are technology, tolerance, and talent. So what they're doing is they've invested amazingly well, deeply into technology. It was about water, as you were saying, in terms of how IT infrastructure is being built, how they're investing in, say, global data centers, etc.
Yeah.
They're really investing in those set of things, and they've made a very, very strong pitch for that. And the second thing that they did was in terms of talent, like they're attracting talent across the board.
Absolutely.
In terms of movement of talent as well, as the minister was saying, as Minister Goyal was saying,
Yes.
that it has actually become a hub in terms of movement of people and movement of people from different sets of locations. So that is something very, very sustainable. So they're moving products, they're moving people, they're moving data, and that's what the economy is all about today.
Indeed. And do you see opportunities for Indian businesses in the Bharat Mart, for instance?
Oh, definitely. Like if I am an Indian person and who's looking at creating some kind of an opportunity in Dubai or understanding an opportunity, Bharat Mart becomes a very cool or an interesting place. It becomes like a good center wherein I'm able to start my business, or I'm able to explore, I'm able to talk to people. So it's like an incubation center itself, as I would actually see it. And India is really moving towards that direction. India has some amazing stories in terms of what it can do. I think when you talk about Africa, Africa is doing so much trade, and I would like to pick on that point. India is going to give solutions to the global south. We cannot doubt that at all. I don't think there is an iota of doubt in my mind that India will be creating solutions for places like Africa, Latin America, etc. And we are already seeing that evidence. Like talk about DPI and how people are learning. In fact, Dubai is also doing it. Dubai is saying
absolutely.
90% of its transactions are going to happen through electronic transactions. It's an India story which has been understood very well, and they're implementing it. And then if you talk about the whole thing in terms of like how movement can happen between various sets of places, Africa, India, it is actually just going to pan out very, very well.
Indeed. Dr. Amit Kapoor, Honorary Chairman of the Institute for Competitiveness, India, thank you very much for unpacking all of that for us. Now, moving on to our next story. Hollywood has long been the jewel of American culture and a powerhouse of the global film industry. But now, the silver screen is facing an unprecedented challenge as President Donald Trump threatens to impose a sweeping 100% tariff on all movies made outside the United States. As studios and international partners scramble to assess the impact, uncertainty looms over Hollywood's next blockbuster. Diptanshu Kashyap reports.
From Gone with the Wind to The Godfather, Star Wars to Marvel blockbusters, Hollywood has long been the beating heart of global cinema. US President Donald Trump reignited a storm over the silver screen, threatening a 100% tariff on any and all films made outside the United States. He cited impacts of foreign films on California's film industry.
Other nations have been stealing the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week. And we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed now.
Hollywood isn't just about glitz and glamour. It's a major engine of the US economy. In 2022, the Motion Picture Association reported it supported 2.3 million jobs and generated $279 billion in sales. The industry also posted a $15.3 billion trade surplus in 2023, backed by $22.6 billion in exports to international markets. Yet, despite its size and global reach, Hollywood has struggled to regain momentum. The COVID pandemic reshaped how Americans consume films, with more audiences staying home, and recent disruptions continue to challenge studios. Hollywood has increasingly relied on overseas production hubs such as Canada, the UK, and Australia, where tax incentives attract big budget shoots for films like Deadpool and Wolverine, Wicked and Gladiator 2. But Trump's proposed 100% tariff threatens to upend this cross-border collaboration.
So if Canada gives you $50 million to make a movie in Canada, we're going to have a $60 million tariff on that. Well, what's the impact of that? You're not going to go to Canada to make the movie. Anybody making a movie in Canada isn't going to bring it to the US. It's just going to cease that trade, like it's just going to stop.
While Trump presents the tariff as a way to protect the US film industry, experts say it raises more questions than answers. Industry insiders highlight the difficulty of defining an American-made movie when films often involve foreign actors, directors, financing, or post-production work. Analysts warn the levy could push up production costs, stifle investment, and disrupt thousands of US and international jobs. As studios, unions, and allied countries assess the potential impact, uncertainty looms over Hollywood's global business model and the future of cross-border filmmaking. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for the Economic Brief, DD India.
Well, beneath Tajikistan's towering peaks, miners are racing to extract antimony, a rare mineral now at the heart of a global competition. From Central Asia to Africa, Greenland to South America, now nations are scrambling for critical minerals that will power the clean energy transition, advanced technology and defense. This race for resources is set to define the next era of global power. We leave you with Tarun Badghaya's report. Take a look. Namaskar. Thanks for watching.
Beneath Tajikistan's mountains, miners unearth antimony, a rare metal vital to modern industry. As the world's second largest producer, Tajikistan supplies 25% of global demand and over half of the EU's imports. It's a strategic asset fueling exports, jobs and industrial growth, though reliance on Chinese investment brings both promise and peril.
This is an ore enrichment plant What you see allows us to process 5,000 tons of ore per day. The process starts with 2 drums that you see behind us. The ore is brought there and gets crushed. Then it goes into what is called a flotation tank next to us. There we separate the metal from the ore using chemical reagents.
The race for rare minerals is reshaping global economies. China leads with about 70% of the output, while the US, UAE, and India build independent supply chains. Greenland holds vast untapped reserves, and the UAE is investing $375 million in African mining to secure future supply and boost its energy transition role. Rare minerals are powering the future economy. Between 2020 and 2022, rare earths in renewables quadrupled in value and could grow tenfold by 2035. Greenland may supply 10,000 tons by 2030, worth billions. Control over these resources will shape global industrial leadership. So Tajikistan is getting future ready.
There are many antimony deposits in Tajikistan. Antimony is mined both underground and open pit.
AI, drones, IoT sensors, and automation are improving productivity, reducing costs, and ensuring safer operations. The global smart mining market is projected to reach $34 billion by 2030, making mining not just a resource quest, but a high-tech economic industry that supports clean energy, electronics, and defense sectors. From Tajikistan's tunnels to Greenland's ice and Africa's deserts, the competition for rare minerals is redefining geopolitics. India too has joined the global hunt. With the launch of National Critical Mineral Mission this year, New Delhi is investing nearly $215 billion in exploration, while also negotiating with Chile for lithium and copper access. Tarun Bhatgaia's report for the Economic Brief, DD India.